Hello everyone, this is Mary Gregory. Welcome to our audio video today. I don't know, I do so many audios, I want to say audio. But our video today. And today we're going to be talking about common sense coding. But before I get started, Veronica Hodges, hi, I want to give you a shout out. And I want to give a shout out to all of my code heads that was in my 2006 IHS Coding Boot Camp. That was a great time. It was in Midwest City, Oklahoma. I know Cherokee Fields was in there. A young lady named Anna. A couple of people I can see their faces, but I can't remember your name. But I just want to say hello. If you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, if you ever see these videos, just want to give you a shout out. It was a great time. I went to this Mexican restaurant called Ted. Oh my gosh, that salsa was so hot. Oh my gosh. They had something called the atomic bomb or something. So anyway, and I was in Midwest City, Oklahoma, and it was, I don't know what it's like, July, August, hot. And then I'm going to eat this hot salsa. Oh my gosh, I was sweating constantly. But anyway, it was a great time. I think it was about 13 ladies in that class, and we had a great success rate with that boot camp. I believe the lady that brought me on board was named Angela Cahiga, and I believe Angela has retired from IHS. She was a great person to work for and a great person to know. So I want to give everybody a shout out. So now let's get to common sense coding. What do I mean when I say that? I have to digress a little bit. What I mean is that there are going to be times when you're going to look at the documentation in the chart, and you're going to have to learn to make some good decisions, or at least the best that you can make based on that documentation that you have. And so sometimes we have to put a little common sense in it, because sometimes the doctors may write a diagnosis. There could be two codes for it, one for congenital, one for non-congenital. How do you make that decision? Sometimes you have to go back to the physician. But I'm a firm believer that you cannot constantly go to the physician. You must do some research on your own before you go to the physician. And so you're going to take some common sense and you're going to say, you know, this patient is 85 years old. Is it something that could be congenital? Is it something that could be acquired? There are conditions that are congenital that people are actually born with at birth. And so my common sense of coding, I'm going to go look it up. I'll Google it, or I get my Tabor's or my Doyle Medical Dictionary out and read it so that I can get the right code. Sometimes I can get the right code without actually going to the physician. You know, sometimes in looking at your chart, sometimes we have patients come in. They start out as a female, they turn out to be males, or vice versa, meaning that there's transcription errors. And so if I have a code that is a female code, but my gender, say male, I'm going to have to use some common coding sense on that. For instance, in I-9, if a male has pelvic pain, when you go to pain pelvic for a male, it'll tell you to see abdominal pain. But if it's a female, you actually have a code. Well, sometimes people forget that and they put the female code on the male. See? So you will have to say, okay, I'm going to have to use some common sense coding here. I got to this code and it says female, but I'm dealing with a male. So now I'm going to have to do a little bit more research in my coding. See? And that's what I mean by common sense coding. And so you want to begin to learn that and think about that. In dealing with common sense coding, sometimes we have coders that all they do is just take the codes and put it on somebody's chart. The physician may give them the code, they may get the code out of a data bank, and they just put the code on the claim. But they don't have to review the code, they don't look at the code. And sometimes people will say, well, I'm a coder because they do that type of work. Well, that may be true that you are applying codes, but it don't necessarily make you a coder. And I don't want to offend anybody. I just want you to be the best that you can be. And in order to be the best that you can be, you're going to have to learn, if you're going to be the top-notch coder that's in you, you want to bring out that top-notch coder that's in you, then what you're going to have to do is learn how to go to your guidelines. You're going to learn how to take those guidelines and apply it to your documentation. And as I'm sitting here talking about this, let's say you have a job where you have to just, the doctors give you the code and you put them on the claim. But you say, well, I want to be a coder. What I would encourage you to do is you take some time in your spare time and say, you know what? I'm going to go look and see, what does 78900 really mean? What does that code mean? And you go look it up. And you find out it means abdominal pain. Or you may have a code like 07050. I'm going to miss being able to say these codes when we go to 10. And I think that's hepatitis. And so you see these numbers, but you may never see the description that go beside the number. Take some time to look it up. It'll help you to become the coder that you want to become. And that's what I call using some common sense coding. You know, just because somebody gives you a code doesn't mean you can't go look it up and see what it means. You can go look it up and see what it means. One time we had acronym. And the acronym was AIDS. And most times that stands for AIDS. But in this case, it didn't stand for AIDS. What had happened was it stood for the artificial insemination, because the patient had been artificially inseminated so she could have a baby. Well, the doctor used the word AIDS on it, and the coder coded this patient as having AIDS. So we got into a lot of trouble with that. Now, that coder didn't use her common sense coding, because we have been taught that anytime you see that diagnosis, you gotta research it a little bit more. And when we went back and looked in this later history, she ain't never had AIDS. Never. And so it was the coder responsibility to check out the acronym. So you can't just code from every acronym. And that's what I mean when I say common sense coding. So there are going to be times you're going to have to check things out. It's your responsibility to check it out, to make sure it's right. It's your responsibility as a good coder to take it back to the physician and say, well, you know you use this acronym. Are you saying this? Is this what you're really saying? And they may say, oh, no, Mary, I don't mean that. Oh, no, I don't mean that. See, so that's what I mean when I say using common sense coding. You as a coder, you got to paint the picture. You paint that picture with your codes. And so make sure you painting an accurate picture. Okay? Well, I hope you enjoyed that lesson for today. This is Mary signing off. But before I go, I need for you to follow us on Facebook. I need for you to follow us on LinkedIn or Twitter, whichever one you like best. Just follow us. And also visit our website, www.mascodingsolutions.com. I am excited about the classes we got coming up. We got our 10 classes coming up. We are now part of the North Carolina Department of Workforce Development. So we are allowed to, if you're getting a voucher or anything, we can accept that voucher. I want you all to know that I am a approved ICD-10 trainer through AHIMA. I am licensed through the AAPC as a PMCC site. What else have I done? I just do a lot to keep my certifications up. I do a lot of studying. I take classes all the time. And I want you to know, when you consider us for education, you're going to get the best. We are right at the top with everybody else. And so consider us when it's an educational need. We provide education to organizations, and we also provide education to individuals. We have certification classes. We do CCS certification. We do CPC certification classes. We do inpatient classes. We do clinical documentation improvement classes. We just do a lot of classes. I have a lot of audios that I do for clients. I have several clients where I do monthly audios for them on education. And so I want to encourage you to think about Mass Coding Solution when it comes to your educational needs. Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you real soon.